Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today's video was brought to us by Patreon supporter Michael. Huge thanks to Michael and the rest of my Patreon supporters. Michael reached out asking for help with his Gitaxias Progress Tyrant deck. But before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel and it's free. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Gitaxias Progress Tyrant is a 7-mana 5/5 legendary Phyrexian Praetor and, like all Praetors, comes with a boon for us and a penalty for our opponents. Whenever we cast an instant, sorcery, or artifact spell, we may copy that spell and choose new targets for the copy. But this ability only triggers once each turn. Whenever an opponent casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, Gitaxias Progress Tyrant counters that spell. This ability also only triggers once each turn. So the most obvious way to build Gitaxias is turns. Every turn spell means we take 2 instead of 1. But Michael didn't want to go about it that way. He wanted the deck to be a bit nicer. Well, as nice as you can be with a Praetor as your commander. Additionally, I was sent his current list and asked not to include any new expensive cards. So any cards you see in the list are ones that Michael already owned. I think the most expensive new card I added was about $5 or $10. Regardless, what we do want is a lot of artifacts in the deck, and as many instants and sorceries as possible. A few creatures wouldn't hurt so long as they go well with what we're planning. But before we get to our deck list, we should keep in mind our checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, 1 sudden I win card. Academy Ruins, Inventor's Fair, Seat of the Synod, Ancient Tomb, Strip Mine, Buried Ruin, Mystic Sanctuary, the Mycosynth Gardens, Castle Vantress, Reliquary Tower, War Room, Hall of the Storm Giants, Scavenger Grounds, and 22 Islands. Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Sapphire Medallion, High Tide, Primal Amulet, Extraplanar Lens, Solemn Simulacrum, Thrawn Dynamo, Mind Stone, Gilded Lotus, Thought Vessel, Liquimetal Torque, Decanter of Endless Water, Unwinding Clock, Skyclave Relic, and Hedron Archive. I know that a lot of people aren't big on Hedron Archive, but in this deck, with our commander on board, it's mana neutral the turn it comes out. Drown in Dreams, Pull from Tomorrow, Rush of Knowledge, Seagate Restoration, Windfall, Teferi's Ageless Insight, Frantic Search, Blue Sun Zenith, Chemister's Insight, Paradoxical Outcome, Thirst for Discovery, Stroke of Genius, and Even the Score help us dig through our deck and keep our hands full. Spellskite, Fierce Guardianship, Mana Drain, Negate, Counterspell, Arcane Denial, Disallow, Commit Memory, Wash Away, Pongify, Rapid Hybridization, Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots, and Propaganda make up our spot removal and protection package. Cyclonic Rift, and Washout. Keeping it simple this time. Dominate, Bribery, Mass Manipulation, Invoke the Winds, and Blue Sun's Twilight mean that we get to play with the best cards in your deck. Pardeen, Consul of Invocation, helps to protect our artifacts. Phyrexian Metamorph for shenanigans. Wormcoil Engine, Memnarch, Platinum Empyrean, and Blightsteel Colossus for beatdown as needed. Psychosis Crawler is a backup win condition with all of our card draw. God Eternal Kefnet is a great blocker combined with some additional copy effects. Leyline of Anticipation means we can trigger our commander whenever we want to. Shark Typhoon to fill the sky with massive blockers. Clone Legion to copy all of our opponent's creatures twice. Expropriate for additional theft, or turns if our opponents so choose. And Guile, which is a busted magic card in blue and one I should probably be playing more often. Now that we have our deck list, we should compare it to our checklist. 52 mana sources split between 35 lands, 16 pieces of ramp, and 1 MDFC. A little high, but we've got a 7 mana commander, so it's fine. 13 pieces of card advantage, 14 pieces of interaction, 2 board wipes, 1 piece of graveyard hate, several sudden I win cards. I know not a lot of people are fans of Blightsteel Colossus, but we're not cheating him into play with this deck. We're casting him the good old-fashioned way. And yes, we may have 2 of him on board under the right circumstances, but we don't have a way to give him haste either. Unless we steal that way from our opponents, that is. I really enjoy decks like this, with theft mechanics and lots of card advantage. This deck is as strong as who you're playing against. If you're up against a bunch of low-power decks, you're not going to have much to steal and will play on their level. If you're going up against high-powered decks, maybe you steal an Avacyn from Kaalia or a Bellatrix Witherbloom from the Ur-Dragon. Regardless, the stronger your opponents are, the stronger this deck becomes as well. Do you have a Gitaxias Progress Tyrant deck? What's the theme of your deck? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. One of the tiers is specifically set up for Commander. For only $25, I will build you a custom Commander deck based around your specifications and even do a deck video on it. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Muffins, Marcus, Phoenix Vice, Squishy, Brett, Roxy, Brian, Josh, Sean, Holton, Richard, Pob Zombie, Ing, and Michael. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander deck videos often, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Also, if you're a fan of anime and manga like I am, feel free to check out my other channel, Musings by Danon. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.